Welcome. Spiritual update on spiritualmag.org for March 11th, 2025. So you got to assume that mainstream media is going to lie. They're the ones that got you into the trouble. They're the ones that are still there. Might have different faces on the screen, but still ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, Fox. It's all the same outfit. It's owned by the same outfits. They didn't go anywhere. So they're going to assume the information is going to be filtered somewhat, or maybe a lot, or maybe not at all. So X, it's not filtered. You're free on X. So Fernando and I are going to be focusing on X because you're going to get information that's not going to be available. Maybe TikTok will have it too. But, Facebook and YouTube and all this sort of stuff is so. We'll keep a presence there, but X is going to be the way to go. Now, the big object right now is last night in British waters, a ship filled with jet fuel got rammed, and the ship that was filled with jet fuel was in like a parking lot of other giant ships. It wasn't out where the ships pass. And the ship that rammed it hit it at full speed. So the fuel exploded. It made a big mess, and the carrier, the cargo container that ran into it at full speed was filled with hazardous materials and sodium chloride. Is that it? Yeah, sodium cyanide. So you got jet fuel burning with sodium cyanide in the worst place outside of Britain. So it's going to mess up that place a whole bunch. Just happened. It just happened. It's not an accident. Okay. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is this is the second thing that is the first thing was, remember just at the end of 2024, that military helicopter ran right into that passenger high-end executive jet in the landing lane. Remember that? You know how hard it is to hit something? You know how hard it is for a helicopter to hit it? You know what I mean? Well, probably what happened was someone overrode the controls on the helicopter, and someone overrode the controls on the things that are happening right now. Okay, so you're not learning about it. It's not going to be on the news. Now, what's going to happen is the ecological destruction that is occurring right now. The ships are on fire now, and the impact on trading and import out of Britain is a big deal. Also, you can't stop parking boats with dangerous stuff. There's no else. They got to be parked and anchored. They're just sitting targets for whatever. Now, that probably is something similar to what happened with the helicopter. Okay, it's remote controlled, or something gets hijacked. Okay, their satellite gets tweaked or something, and the ship gets taken over by an outside party. So it's kind of like a war going on now. Okay, Ukraine launched the largest number of military drones, 360 last night, towards Moscow. Now, ignorant people can continue to do disrespectful things to other ignorant people and angry people and people that are just crazy. It's unfortunate. The only solution is for everyone to elevate their consciousness. That's the only solution. And it only takes about 8-10%, supposedly, of the people to elevate their consciousness to make everyone's consciousness upgrade. So we don't really have any choice in it, boys and girls, men and women, elders. We need to focus on unconditional love for ourselves and others, visualize ourselves and others in embryonic bubbles of white light above us, below us, in front of us, behind us, to the right of us, and all that are left of us. Welcome, Spiritual Mag, spiritual update for March 11th, 2025. Now, okay, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Well, there's nothing you can buy that's going to make it better. Okay? There's nothing in the store that's going to make these problems go away. It's all going to be inside of you, a solution coming from within. It's the only way things are going to get better. Now, here's what you got to think about. Thoughts are things. This white light of the Holy Spirit, if you visualize white light above something and introduce feelings of compassion and unconditional love with this white light, just visualize it, like white, like it's like coloring it with a piece of chalk. That's very powerful because it's a creative thing that you're doing inside your mind, motivated by the unconditional love that's coming from your heart. And you're focusing it and you're pushing it on a symbol of this loved one. And because it's a symbol, it's going to resonate with that loved one. So you can send healing things, healing thoughts to people. You can do it, and many tests have done that. Have a group of people, have people send them healing thoughts, and then split the group in half and have some people get no thoughts and some people get healing thoughts. The ones with healing thoughts, it's a big difference, especially with heart transplants. They did that. Anyway, so this is the kind of thing that you can do with civilian core, which means you sit down, you visualize Elon. Hello, Elon. Maybe he's sitting with his kids, a family picture. You stop and visualize him like in 3D in color in your mind, big time. And you just don't think of the whole thing. You go to each face, you recreate it in your mind, and then you place it in an embryonic bubble of white light. Just goes around them. Doesn't have to be big, but they're all enclosed in this embryonic bubble of white light. And that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Okay? Now, we can also do that for the soil beneath Silicon Valley and the water. Now, Elena Danaan, we discussed it in an interview, she recommended that. So that's the big one. So everyone, please, and I've been asking people to do this for a couple of years now. Visualize Silicon Valley, even San Francisco Bay Area, San Jose, all the way up in there. The soil, the water, the grass, the trees, the animals, visualize them enclosed in the embryonic bubble of white light. And when the people drive in there and park their cars and get out and walk around, they're going to be a little more in tune with elevating consciousness. Those are two things you can do now as a civilian core. No one has to enlist you. You're doing it on your own. And what happens is, in conclusion, what happens is you're working with your willpower, your ability to focus in, your unconditional love. 3 things you have now. You'll take those when your body deceases. Now, when you're working on these things now while you're still in the body and you're improving those things, when you pass on, it's a lot better. Okay? And then things make sense why the struggles were there for you to learn patience, for the struggles were there for you to learn certain lessons. Okay, Spiritual Mag, Sam Bell. And this is in civilian core. This is where ultra-terrestrials and extraterrestrials work together. This is the category here. So 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I do a water circle ceremony with some special water. It was from India. It's 500 million people do a water ceremony in this water. And I did a Gnostic, Christian Gnostic prayer. And the special prayer remember, Fernando, that prayer I wrote down? That prayer that Dr. Sala used?
I don't remember the words.
You don't remember the words? And that prayer too. And did a healing meditation, and this guy showed up out of the blue in the dark. So next thing I know, we're like, what happened, right? And we did the ceremony. We're asking for extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial to come in. All right. So the next day, Fernando's looking at Google Maps, and he looks from where we were. He sees an underwater UFO. It's clear as day. So we're like, ooh, underwater UFO. And because there's Chilka's, a lot of UFO stuff goes on there. And we're there because we're trying to communicate with the UFO. So a year we're talking about it, nobody responds. Then a year later, Yahoo Sport did an article about it. Said somebody discovered, but it's still there. So anyway, little of this, little of that. We're doing stuff there, working to communicate with off-planet beings to help the planet elevate consciousness. And Daisy says, go to this spot. So we go to the spot. I do this prayer. We get stuck in traffic. You have to go to this, the Federales, get to check whatever. And then we're late, like about 45 minutes. We had a time and place to be there. We're a little bit late. Good ceremony, though. And then we kind of felt defeated, but it's kind of odd because usually I'm accurate on this stuff. We put a lot of energy in making this accurate. And then like less than 2 days later, a big old earthquake hit right there. On that spot. So we couldn't really determine how big this thing was. It's about 300 miles off the coast of Chilka. And the Nazca lines come in at one side. It's very cool. Okay, visualize that those beings there in the underwater UFO cooperate with all of us elevating consciousness for sentient beings on this planet. You and all your loved ones are always in my prayers. Welcome, Sam Bell, Spiritual Mag, and this is a spiritual reading for Volodymyr Zelensky. So I have a picture of his signature here, and I'm looking at it, and Daisy's assisting me. Daisy's my guardian angel, is assisting me with picking up or perceiving some feelings that I try to put into thoughts. And then I try to put the thoughts into sensings, and then into whatever truth I can make out of it that feels the truth, because I don't know Mr. Zelensky. So when the information comes from his guardian angel through to Daisy, the information's come across probably 100% accurate. But when Daisy gets it into my mind, my brain, that's where the weakest link is. So here's a spiritual reading for Vladimir Volodymyr Zelensky. Well, Vladimir, this is not how you perceive yourself. This is not how others perceive you. This is how Divine Creator made you. It doesn't make you good. It doesn't make you bad. It's just the way you are. There's no judgment whatsoever. You're not better than Hitler. You're not worse than Lord Buddha. And I'll tell you the important things first. The first thing, what you see is what you get. You're not a complicated person, okay? You're expressing yourself honestly from within outwards, okay? So you're not hiding anything. So the first thing, the most important thing is you like to entertain, okay? You like to entertain. And like is too gentle a word. You thrive on entertaining. And you don't have ill feelings or hard feelings. It's more that you actually believe that your purpose in life is to entertain no matter how much pain it causes. Okay, so you're doing what you think you're supposed to be doing because you're getting paid a lot to do it. All right. Now, people are going to judge you for the stupid shit you've done, and you can judge your actions, but you can't really judge your soul. People don't know what's going on with your soul. It might turn out that you requested to not do this sort of thing, but you volunteered to do this job because you wanted to help all these people learn compassion and patience. And you're willing to put up the horrible abuses you're going to put up with for the rest of your life. And you made that choice on purpose so that all these people on the outside will learn compassion and patience. Now, it's kind of a mind bender, I know, but that's honest to God truth. So from your perspective, You're having a good time doing what you want to do. And if it causes pain, it gives you greater thrills, if you know what I mean. Now, are you open for a suggestion? Okay, the suggestion is stop. Stop. Okay. You're not going to find your insides looking outwards. You're only going to find what's happening inside you and redirect that energy to still gain pride and pleasure with helping people, but in a more productive way. Okay. And you can do that on a dime. You and all your loved ones are always in my prayers.